Rabat. Questions about magic. Questions about magic. Anybody want to know? Peace, peace, peace. Rabat, Yaquis. Who want to know about magic? Teach you. What questions you got? Shout out to Jersey. Rabat. Yeah, I'm going to teach. Who got questions? Questions about magic. Let's go. What's up with candles? It depends on what you're doing. Candles are for different purposes to help you place an intention somewhere and focus on that intention, and then it's left up to the mystery of, wow, the sun looks like a light bulb. It's up to the mystery of the forces unseen when it comes to human consciousness, and just how much can human beings affect reality just by thinking or placing an intention on something. And if we're able to shapeshift psychologically just based off an idea, how much can the realm shapeshift based off of the idea that we project? So candles are for intention placement. They're mediums to help you carry out whatever work you're doing, even if it's just reinforcement mentally. How to do fire magic? What do you mean by fire magic? Do meditation and incense and candles work? Or incense? Yeah, they do work. It's all a part of work. It's just you have to understand the formula. Faith without works is dead. So it depends on the power of your own thought, and also it depends on the frequency of your very being, meaning how frequent are you able to visit this altar, or how frequent are you able to visit this thought? That's where you have to chant and meditate on a thought for so long to bring things into existence, because it's not only that you're pulling something to you or pulling something to be, it's also that you understand that being is a frequency. You understand that? So you know, okay, if I think on this so many more times or amount of times throughout a day, it may change my habits. And my habits themselves, based on the thought that I'm having recurring, right? My habits themselves may bring about this, what I'm focusing on. Does that make sense? What is the simplest form of spell casting? Doing what I'm doing right now, speaking. What is considered dark magic? Dark magic has multiple different definitions. The main one is magic that adds weight to the being, right? And if they're not careful, it can cause them to become too dense or too heavy over time, which is where villains are made or dark lords are made. They're gathering too much density along the way. Dark magic also means chemistry, right? Or chem is dark, chem, mystery or mystics, or science is secrets that are dark secrets. Just saying that people don't know what it is. So it's dark magic is kept sacred. They're not able to understand it. How do you use your tongue to break spells instead of casting them? What are the different types of magic? How can you use it to help you raise your frequency instead of dimming it? Okay, firstly, no man can shoot a gun they don't possess. I'm going to say it again. No man can shoot a gun that he doesn't possess. All right? So if you're using magic, it wouldn't even be a worry about whether or not you're going to be dimming your light or bringing yourself to raise your frequency. It will be more about what is your intention, and then what is the ejection itself or the projection itself that comes from you. And then you have to deal with what is the person that you may be doing magic for, or the realm you're doing magic for. What are they in state or in their frequency receiving the magic as? So it's all about intention and reception. So somebody may have the intention to hex you, but you don't receive it. You see what I'm saying? You ever heard somebody say, I send that right back to return to sender? you don't have intention to receive it. So you don't have the reception needed or necessary to be able to receive the attack. And it's not always just about your mental or your mentality. Sometimes it's about whether or not you lack the protection. Because if you lack the protection, then you will be receptive or susceptible to whatever the attack is. So that attack will come through. Does that make sense? Question, is 144,000 the only pure people in so-called Earth, or so-called Earth, and everyone else is legion? I don't know. The sun is oddly bright right now, isn't it? No, it's not oddly bright. We're nearing the summertime. How about in use of prayer? What about it? Yeah, you can pray. Prayer is also magic. People want to conflate the two, and sometimes people want to separate the two. But prayer and magic are one and the same. It's all about being able to go to that spiritual place, as they call it, to invoke, to evoke, to incant, to enchant, to whatever you need to do, or call on the spirit. You go to the Pentecostal church, they call it on the spirit. That spirit gets to move it through the room. You see what I'm saying? And you ask them to explain about the spirit, the only thing they have to tell you is power of God, or is God, or the Holy Spirit. They don't know what it is. So it's the same thing the pharaohs were able to do when they took out their staff and turned it into a snake. Moses was able to do the same thing, and these people were supposed to be working with two different gods. But that God within itself, at that point, will be whether or not you have the miracles overstood, or the occults of the mir. Mir meaning pyramid. The secrets of the pyramid. Those people went into the pyramids to learn certain things, or in the temples, the sacred temples, to learn certain things, and they were raised up as initiates. Then they became clairvoyants, and they became adepts in those particular orders. In that order. Is magic ancestral or just science? We don't understand. It's both, because there are certain sciences that your ancestors didn't understand, right? That's just because the ancestors did certain things and said certain things didn't mean they knew what they were doing. And then there are certain technologies that you don't know how to use, but other people do. That's a mystery to you, so you don't understand that, but it's still magical. And a lot of times when you're dealing with magic, you're dealing with technology or biology that hasn't been explained, or physiology, or psychometry, or all kinds of different things, physics that hasn't been explained, or biology that hasn't been explained. Say that. So chemistry may not have been explained, and people think it's magic. You see what I'm saying? So the lack of understanding within itself is that magic that people are talking about. They don't know what it is until you become magi, and then you're of the magi, and you become magic yourself. The same way, if you're of the Arabs and you speak in a language, you're speaking Arabic. If you're of the magi, you speak in a language, you're speaking magic. You get with me? Raising your frequency comes from within. It doesn't just come from within. The law of correspondence. It comes from within and without. It has to be both. You don't put no battery in, it only has negative. There's negative and positive. You have to understand rhythm. You have to understand the principle of mentality or mentalism. You have to understand the principle of gender. You have to understand the principle of cause and effect. You have to understand the principle of vibration. You have to understand all these principles are speaking about a back and forth within some type of capsulated reality. Does that make sense? So that which is central, even within itself, is composed of a negative and positive that makes it whole. So when you're saying it comes from within, it comes from within and without. You source from within and without. Because you can't do magic without taking in oxygen and breathing it out. So there's a part of that magic that's breath work included, right? And mental work included. And your mental or your brain can't function without you having some type of oxygen flowing in and out of your body. You have to drink water. You have to be in tune with the elements. You have to be able to get fire, which isn't really fire, but they call it fire. It's the sunlight. You have to be exposed to a certain amount of UV rays and plasmic energy. It's not just within. Even though you have components of all of this within, it's still an outside portion of it too that you have to be in tune with. How fasting days recommended, or how many fasting days recommended for deep meditation? Deep, 9. Go 9 days no food, and watch how you see meditation that you think is so peaceful may get chaotic. It's not always a peaceful thing. Yes, and thanks. I'm listening. Okay, cool. Alchemy. What about it? Is magic similar to what Jedis mentioned as the Force? Yes and no. Yes, because magic and force go hand in hand to understand electromagnetism, push and pull. All right, and if there's a force that pushes, there's also a force that pulls. That's how they're able to grab people's neck, right? But no, because people get caught up in the mysticism of magic or the spiritualism or the spookism of magic, and they're not able to understand that force is a physical thing. It's not a spiritual thing. You with me? So a lot of people lost their way in that regard by making it all about spirit, and spirit ain't something that they understand about, which is just knowledge and information. Is intent. I gotta flip the camera. And you need to also pay attention to the fact that temptation doesn't always come from address. Temptation comes from stress. Temptation comes from isolation and not understanding what to do with your time. So you can have stress and say, okay, I want to relieve myself of some stress. So then you naturally, because of the habit, you may have placed yourself in a position where you need to release, all right, or have an ejaculation or orgasm, which causes for endorphins to be released or dopamine to be released. And that places you in a state of calmness, peace, relaxation, and you have bliss. But it's all an illusion because that's only occurring in the mind. And all of those same triggers will still be either in your environment, or if you attempted to suppress them, they'll still be in your brain. You just said, I'm not going to think about it right now because you started moving further away from your frontal lobe the more you have that orgasmic experience. So it's discipline. Discipline. Might sound cliche, okay, but it comes in clutch. Let's look at the word cliche. You get clutch right there, right? You see it? So it comes in clutch. So don't sleep on cliches. Discipline. All right, and have a goal. And sometimes people need goals. Don't sleep on goals. If you're going to say you're going to go 90 days, have a goal so that you'll understand that you need to reach that. And that may be your optimal. Or you may want to start lower and give yourself 30 days. But the main thing is, family, with semen retention, it's about understanding your true power to deal with things that you're attempting to not deal with by escaping. And get over the denial that it's escaping, because it is. Right? And you don't have to experience it. So get rid of what they refer to as FOMO, or your fear of missing out. You're not missing out on anything. There's a lot of work to be done. All right? But once you get it under control, you may have your relapses, as some people call them, or experiences where you release. You still need to make sure it doesn't rule your... If you find yourself in a seat where you're doing this every day, or even some people all day, you're not in control. Don't try to convince yourself you are. All right? That orgasmic feeling has conquered your life. And it is no different than somebody that's on cocaine. Okay? It's conquered your life. That dopamine feeling has conquered you. And the way that you conquer it or procure it is you make a decision. And you say, I'm bigger than this. And then you live up to it. And remember how powerful, that's a sacred, by the way. Please remember how powerful the orgasm is. All right? It's a sacred that people may not understand about because they waste it. And they don't know that even when that comes around, if that's something that you choose to do, that's where you put an intention. That's where you really, I'm giving you something. If that's something that you do, that's where you start forming worlds, because it has to go somewhere, or it may be being sourced and you may be possessed. A parasite could be in your body. A spirit could be in your body that feeds off of that. And if you don't have the willpower, which you can, go watch the movie Green Lantern. That green light, that willpower. If you don't have that willpower, then somebody else may be using you. And you think it's the same thing with food and all of that. Is interpreting intention verbally to the universe. In interpreting intention verbally to the universe, is it important to use correct terminology in mental contemplation? That's a great question. So, firstly, when you're dealing with languages like English, certain words have multiple meanings, right? The intention is important. However, you are one with the universe. They're not going to misunderstand you. If anything, they're going to understand more about what you're asking for than you do. The universe, which has much more knowledge than you do, much more information in its composition than the mere body that is the being that is you, and the brain that is controlling that being that is you. There's far more knowledge, far more information outside, even though you're one with it. Okay? Don't think one with it means you're equal. Okay? You're just one with it. All right? The universe and you work alongside one another. And so the universe being more ancient than you are, this ideology that makes you think that you exist, would know more of what you're asking for. So you ever heard somebody say, I prayed for wisdom and God tested me so I could be wise? Or I prayed for strength and God tested me so I could be put to the test to show my strength. And you thought that strength was going to show up at your door like it's Amazon. That's not how this goes. So when you ask for a thing, the intention is already there before you put it in words. Verbalization is just to help you come to grips with the medium that you may not understand fully about. So you verbalize it to put it out as a word because it helps you, right? When you say, like somebody say yes or somebody say no, to say those words help the thought travel through a medium that they say, okay, it's out there now. Well, it was really in there, or both, because you have the thought of the word first before you verbalized it. So you need it to, sometimes people need to materialize a thing. So even when you're thinking inside of your brain and saying words, there's still a frequency that's a yield there. Every tangible thought is able, every thought is tangible. That's what I really should say. Every thought that you have is able to be clocked and recorded and even extracted. That's how they have brainwashing machines and all kind of stuff. They can extract thoughts or implant thoughts from what they call it, like the TDI or the, what do you call it? The dream incubator. Okay, because they're able to do that and place thoughts into people. You with me? So every thought you have is tangible. So to answer your question simply, yeah, it is important to have an intention. It's also important to understand that they say, be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you ask for. Don't ask for anything unless you are ready to receive it. So you need to, the contemplation also should include, if that's what you're saying, what words am I using, but also what is my true intention? Because even what you think you intend for self, once that intention arises, the universe understands more about the interpretation of that intention and the translation of that intention, the reality of that intention, the truth of that intention than you do, or you may. So you'll show yourself up and say, okay, I got to do this way, do that way, say it this way. And then the universe shows you up and says, okay, I know what you really need. Yeah, you asked for a wife and we saw you, but you forget your wife that you're asking for, she'll show up exactly like you're asking, right? Did you forget she has to grow? Did you take into consideration that that wife will not stay the same? She's going to grow either taller or shorter, okay, wider or slimmer. All right, her attitudes may change over time. Attitudes may shift negative or positive, right? Same thing with a husband. You say, I want this person. They show up on a horse, but you forgot that that's the only thing you asked for them to show up on a horse. And you're like, take me away, Calgon, whatever the fuck. And he said, well, my transportation just left. That was the horse. That's all I had. You didn't ask for a vehicle for me. You didn't give me no bids, none of that. You know what I mean? Now he feeling some type of way because you ain't asked for a bid. My point is, the universe is more in alignment with the truth than human beings are. So you really want to align with that which you're asking to make things move, and ask that it is able to see your intentions from your viewpoint, from your vantage point. Have a communication, have conversations with this, what you're calling the universe or divinity or God. Talk to God and say, God, you know my heart, right? Universe, you understand where I'm at. Whatever you need to call it, all right? Because some people go beyond that. Whatever you need to call it, if that's what you need to do, just remember, it is more aware of you than you are of yourself. Does that make sense? All right, I asked for a girlfriend and got what I didn't really want. Okay, and why'd you ask? Maybe you should have said, bring me. Try that next time. Say, bring me this, sister. Bring me this, da-da-da-da. All right, or I create in my mind's eye this, that, and the third. And see what happens. Change it, switch it up. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It's maybe you put in the wrong thing. Or maybe you put in the right thing for what you got. You understand? What were you going through when you did it? Were you low and down and out, or were you vibrating high? You know what I mean? Remember, you're dealing with a true frequency here. You can't fake it. Could you speak on the law of equivalent exchange and how it affects magic? I never heard of that. I never heard of the law of equivalent exchange. So anything I would answer would just be based on conjecture. Maybe you can explain about it and then we can talk about it. Be very specific about what you want. Yeah, and also remember, what you want can change in an instant. People have wished for things that they didn't really want, and then they got them, and they change their mind by the time it arrives. Just remember, you know, I'm giving y'all wisdom here. I'm one of the adepts. It's less about what you want. It's more about what you need. And that's the language that the universe really speaks. That's the language that God really speaks. Because I thought I was ready and I realized I'm not, I always asked for one and never got one, so I realized I needed to be alone. Okay? I can't do anything about that realization. Once you say that, that's you uttering that. How do you activate more of your brain? What part? There will your answer. Learn the parts of the brain and the functions of the brain. And then study each part and function and what's needed to increase its functionality or optimality. Law of Equivalent Exchange is from Full Metal Alchemist. The TV show? How do we use telepathy? You use it. You say how you do it? Like, okay, telepathy is a whole school. I have to do a whole class on that. The main thing is less about verbal communication, more about nonverbal communication, and you already do it. You already do it. You already pick up on social cues. All right? If you want to work on telepathy, work on emotional intelligence and emotional regulation so that you'll be regulated enough to be intelligent enough to understand emotional intelligence. Because some people mistake emotional intelligence for how they feel. That's not emotional intelligence. If you're going based off just how you feel, you're not being emotionally intelligent because it's based off of emotional atmospheres of how different people feel around you or that you may be interacting with, and knowing how to bounce off of those and respect those people's experiences. You understand? Puts you in a better seat. They say that those who went through the rituals of coming forth by day usually reincarnate back to this planet in a higher vibration, like Dr. Melikazi York. How I feel stuck, though, I don't know how to heal or leave this relationship. We have a kid together and she's a Christian and I'm not. It really doesn't work out. Again, you have to understand the power of the tone. That's going to be your one of your biggest challenges. You're saying it doesn't work out, but you're telling me how. You're asking me how. And in the same breath, you're telling me it won't work. What do you want me to say? Right? And by the way, you came to the right place. You have to get over the tone, and you'll understand wisdom is coming through. Because I'm not going to baby you. Right? You're asking me how, but you're saying it's not going to work. That ain't going to work. Not the situation ain't going to work. What you're doing, your formula doesn't work. You have to stand in that seat of power and authority. And you have to understand power and authority doesn't mean that you control everything. Power and authority means you can control what you can. You can't control her. You could be the best Christian that you could ever been. You could have been a better Christian than she is. If she doesn't want to make it work, even if it's based off of arrogance and ego, guess what? She wouldn't want to make it work. So you have to make sure you're doing what? Your part to the best of your ability. Stand in the child's life to the best of your ability. All right? And if you want both the child and her and she doesn't want that, then you have to respect that and keep going up with your life. And what you might find out is as you level up in life, that may change. She may want to be a part of a stable foundation. It may be about your stability. You understand? Not just stability financially, maybe mentally. So as you heal up and grow stronger, not just for her, make it more about the child, okay? And see the child as a village as opposed to one child. That'll help you to put you further ahead. And I don't have children. This is wisdom. Okay? See the child as a village as opposed to one child. And seek to be able to take care of that village within that child. Okay? Because ultimately that child may grow up and have children. All right? Which ultimately would turn into a what? A village. So the sister may no longer be attracted to you. It may have been at one time. Or may have been there for a reason that wasn't virtuous. And then as she used whatever that was, it went on. Or she could just be wanting more for herself or different for herself. Or there could be nothing necessarily wrong with you all's relationship. It's just that y'all are growing in different ways and not overstanding it. And once you go to overstanding that y'all growing in different ways, then things will get better. All right? And if you're in a seat where you have the upper hand of overstanding that, then you're put in a position where you have to compromise more. And then you're faced with the ego decision of whether or not you're going to. So my advice, meaning my additional vision to you, meaning I'm adding on to what you may see, would be level up your life. Take care of the child however you can, whenever you can. And you need to be in the gym. You need to be working on your finances. You need to be saving, working on your credit, whatever you need to be doing. Level up your life, and then it may change. The circumstances that you're asking for or speaking on may change relationship-wise. Now, if it's just about the relationship, you could run into issues, and you need to be ready for that. You could run into challenges where if you find yourself only leveling up because you just want to be with her, as opposed to paying attention to the science of whether or not she chooses to shift and be with you, you still leveled up, all right? If you do that, then you'll slip. If you don't do that, if you pay attention to the fact that you can pick up your whole life, and she may not walk with you, but yet you'll still have picked up your whole life, and that's a plus, and you'll be in a better position to raise the child and yourself. And guess what else wound up happening? Because you leveled up your life, you realize that you'll put yourself in position to attract people who may be better for your life and better for your frequency and your peace. You with me? And that way, you'll be put in the position to figure out whether or not you're ready, because a great being may come along that's waiting for you, but they can't walk into your life until you are in position for them to. And when they walk into your life, you will have to be faced with the challenge of remaining what they call faithful to that person, so that when what you thought you wanted comes around and say, okay, I'm ready to be back with you, you have to be able to stand on it and say, no, I'm with this person here, and we're doing this, and we got this going on, right? And then you may have, I'm just telling you your life, different decisions you may have to make. I don't know how this goes, okay? You still may have to deal with that issue of people being bitter, but it doesn't mean it is always that. So the main thing, what's your main thing? Level up. You got some money, make more money. You got a job, get another job. You understand? You working on getting a house, get it. Focus on that. You strong, get stronger. You in the gym, be in the gym more. You eat healthy, eat healthier. You listen to motivation and work out, listen to more motivation and work out more. You help people more. You understand? And you'll realize it's less about whether or not that particular relationship will work. Okay? It'll be more about, is the relationship with yourself working? And then others who will be able to respect that, they'll come to you. You'll become a magnet. That makes sense? All right. Is manifestation based on the actuality of the true circumstance of the present reality dictated by the action of intent and conscious verbal profession of desired results? If you want to see it that way. Message, yeah, everybody, yeah, for those of y'all who are listening, that was for more than one person. Don't just got to be for one person. You don't know what. The mosquitoes is coming out. The damn mosquitoes. Yeah. Wisdom. Da-da-da. I got about 15 more minutes with y'all. I got some beans on the stove. What all back? Is some dogs that's attracting them? What else? What we got? Any other questions about magic? Spell work, spell casting. I grew up on this. Tour.
How do you know if you should even be doing
How do you know if you should?
Yeah.
You touch the stove and it burns your hand, it's too hot.
What if you're a woman?
If you touch the stove and you're a woman and it burns your hand, are you okay? Then it's too hot. You will know. Because when magic is done the right way, things don't get worse. If something is going terribly wrong, it's like, okay, place yourself in a chemist's lab. You see where I'm going with this? And you mixed in some stuff in a beaker, but then it explodes. Something is going wrong. It doesn't even necessarily mean you shouldn't be doing magic. It just means you don't know what you're doing.
What if you don't know what to do, but you still have like the call?
Then you need to find those who do and learn from them. Because chemistry is a real thing. And it already has formulas. And you may very well be somebody who come through and add something that didn't already exist. But you can't do that if you're not able to grasp the fundamentals.
What are the fundamentals
Of chemistry? Well, the fundamentals of chemistry is reactions. It's all about not just reactions. How is everything made?
I wouldn't say elements.
What is everything composed of? Right? Similar to physics. They're one and the same too, but they have different functions.
Knowing how things work and what they're made of.
Yeah, the main thing is, yeah, exactly. Physics is how it's working. And chemistry is what it is made of. Which, again, they go hand in hand. So those are the fundamentals. So once you learn the elements, right? Periodic table. You go to elementary school. And then you go to beyond elementary school, which is meta school. All right? Or middle school. Middle. You learn about them. All of that's on the periodic table. Once you learn about the elements, you start learning how they're arranged. And then you go to high school. And high school is all about that spirit. Putting what you know to use more. You're on a higher degree. And then you become of the collegiates or the masters. You go get your associates. You go and work with this for real. You associate this magic. Or you become a master. You get your masters. You're one of the masters. You see what I'm saying? It's all that's to say, it's just an analogy saying you have to start with the elementary particles, literally, of everything. Those are the fundamentals. What are the most basic parts of anything? If I tell you to go and do a spell for me or cast a spell for me, and you say, I don't know where to start, you shouldn't cast that spell. Because you be done place the beaker in front of you, put this here, that here, and then it explodes in your face. That's what happened to PVC people. All these movies where there's the villain and they got all these scars, they missing one eye. You know what I'm saying? They got one rib. What happened to you?
One rib.
Yeah, like what's your story? And the story is they touched magic and they weren't supposed to, but they kept going. They got belligerent, arrogant. That makes sense? Yeah. So, yeah. So how do you know if you're supposed to? No matter what you do.
Well, how do you? Well, okay.
Because I've done dark magic and light magic.
To what?
No matter what you do.
Oh,
if you turn them lights off in the shadow hour and you cannot rest, you should not be doing magic.
That's true.
Something that you've done, you need to reconcile. Mm-hmm. But if you've done a thing and it's able to come back to you even, meaning, okay, you ever seen the pendulum science?
That's part of what you were talking about with the karma thing, isn't it?
Is exactly what I was about to say.
Okay.
The pendulum science. You let go of the pendulum. You don't push it. You let it go, and then it'll swing and then swing back.
It'll hit you.
Right. But if you push it, which is what most people do, they send their magic out, but they send it straight out. They don't understand the science of spiral or Fibonacci. They send it straight out, and it come right back and fuck everything up. And they say, oh, man, what'd I do? And they go back and do the same thing. Right? No, it's all good. That's what they do. They go back and do the same thing. They push it again. Okay, let me hit this nigga face. And it's like, I hear something whistling. What was that? And it whistles back. Bam! Hit him again. Right? And then they don't understand it, so they're going to keep doing it. But only those who are going to do works that are in alignment with divinity will be able to spiral a thing. Those who work in disorder are going to push a thing, and it's going to swing right back. Exactly.
Okay. How do you find what works for you when there's so much out here?
How you find what works for you? You work for you. Start there.
Okay.
You work for you. Center yourself. As opposed to somebody else's thing, you got to start learning more about who you are and what you do.
Let me not. All right. We'll phrase this a certain way. Can you speak on what you just said about? Dang, that was gone. All right, that was for who was for. Are there any other questions?
I don't see any right now.
Okay.
Anybody else got any questions?
We gotta revisit this and do like a couple.
Huh? Oh, yeah, we can do that. Too.
What if you feel like you should be of the sun, but you're more in tune with the moon, and vice versa?
Well, one, for women, you're more in tune with the moon because of what this realm has set up, right? Okay, let me make sure that's clear. Cycles. Women have cycles. Mm-hmm. So does the moon. Mm-hmm. So does the sun, though.
Yeah.
Yet, are you more in tune? Yes, is a cycle more in tune with the moon or the sun?
Well, because of what the element and where it's placed in the body, I would say it's more water aligned, and the celestial body that has to do with more water is the moon.
And the lunations.
Mm-hmm.
The
emotional push and pull, ebb and flow.
The moon goes through phases how often throughout the year?
A lot.
Exactly. And there's a monthly cycle for the moon.
Circa. Not always 30 days.
It's not always.
Circa 30 days.
Right. And it's only because they shifted that. Because it's supposed to be 29. Mm-hmm. Right? But they shifted it to make it make sense on their clock. Mm-hmm. To negate that time changes.
Yeah.
They're trying to keep it, but they always still say fall back or spring forward. The point here is you're more in tune with the moon, most women, because of how it's set up here, that the moon is supposed to be one side and the sun is supposed to be another. As opposed to the moon being under the feet and the sun being above the head. So in that regard, it's no different for men or women. You can be just as in tune with the sun, if not more, which I've seen in my life. Women are in tune with the sun.
I was going to say, not if you take, but take gender out of it.
People.
Look at beings.
Okay, just beings. So if a being is more attracted to the moon, it could be genetics.
Okay.
It could be genetics because magic for a long time was associated with moon work. The mystics were associated with the moon. The Wiccans, the moon. Thelemites, moon.
They didn't largely know what it was, so it was black to them.
Right, and they also did a lot of their magic during the night in the shadow hour. And a lot of these beings didn't like the sun. Mm-hmm. So being outside for them doing all that stuff for extended periods of time wasn't favorable. And they wound up making the magic books or the grimoires. You understand that?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Okay. Can you speak more on about doing what works for you? Finding your own thing. And even though there are so many grimoires and how-to books and basics and whatnot, you still gotta do what's for you.
All right, look at the word pendulum. If you look at it and break it down, the word lum means light.
Right.
What does do? Or dos?
I was gonna say, depending on the language.
Two.
Either God or two.
Right. So, and you could say God can still be two.
Deity.
Okay. So, the pen is two lights. Two different lights you can activate using the pen. Two different lights you can activate using you, which is your spine, the pen you have inside of you. Mm-hmm. How do you find what is right for you? It's the same thing when it comes to the stove. If you touch a thing and it stings, it is not in alignment with you. Mm-hmm. Right? So you have to be more mindful of yourself atmospherically. When you're going into an environment and you become overwhelmed and you're not liking how it feels, then this emotional atmosphere is not in tune with yours. You can either adjust, which human beings can do, or attempt to adjust it. Either way, someone's going to win this war. They're either going to influence you or adjust you to them, or you're going to adjust them to you. But either way, this has to balance out some type of way. Does that make sense?
Like
If not, what'll tend to happen?
just
Jesus' story, where he didn't balance out with them. So they say what? Crucify him. That makes sense? So your thing is figuring out where, not just necessarily where you fit in, what resonates with you. And if the moon resonates with you more, or a person more, than the sun does, it'll help to figure out why.
Yeah.
And then stop looking at just the symbols and look at science. So scientifically, like I told people, the moon can't charge you.
That's why I was bringing up you take gender out of it, because what if you are masculine? You are a man presenting as a man in this reality. I'm gonna keep it a buck, and you just feel more in tune with doing lunar things or doing watery things, and you might have people around you be like, "Oh, you want to do that?" Like, it works for you. It might not work for them, or they might not want to do it, or they might not be called to do it, but it works for you. So you keep on doing what you do.
Right.
Okay.
Somebody's meal plan may work for them. It may not be best for them, but it still can work for them. Somebody's budget could work for them. It may not be best for them or optimal, but it can still work for them. So, yeah, it's the same thing. And it could be genetics, your family, or what you were raised around. Spirituality has been associated with the moon for a long time, but because they were in the moon age. And now when you're back in the sun cycle, again, you need to understand. And I was birthed into this sun cycle. So were you. You need to understand which one is optimal. And what reality are you in right now? The sun cycle one or the moon cycle one? If it's the sun cycle one, then optimality is associated with the sun. If it's the moon cycle one, optimality is associated with the moon. So the adepts at one point in time, the furthest they reached was the moon's frequency. You understand that? So even still, right now, they call this what age?
Yeah, you record it.
Yeah, which element is that?
Air.
And before that, it was the what?
Pisces.
The Piscean age, which is what?
Water.
Water. Okay. The sun affects the atmosphere. Air. The moon affects what?
The water.
The waves. It's all about elemental awareness is what I'm saying.
Oh, there's moisture in the air.
There is moisture in the air. There's also air in the water.
Yeah.
That's the yin and yang. There's a piece here and a piece there.
And that's what I was going to ask as well. Like, applying or seeing what works for you, even though there might be cultural whatever, because some people know that I've been asking about their interest, because I have an interest and I've delved into it, and I see what works. So I question other people about Chinese medicine. And I also know from childhood that the way the Eastern cultures see elements is, or can be, different than the way Western cultures see elements. And with the water thing, they see water as a dark element. They see water as a feminine element. And even though there's that overlap with the femininity, there's still that dark element. For some people, water, they might think of the beach and they're like, oh, this water is blue, I can see through it, but they don't think about the deep water. And we still have uncharted oceans on this earth.
Yep.
And there's stuff that lives down there. So it's like really thinking about things past the surface, unironically, and finding that overlap and still finding what works for you. Does that make sense?
Sure. Look at the key word you're using, what works for you. Meaning you have to be able to put it to work.
Yeah.
Right? If I send somebody to go to war with a fake gun, does that work for them?
No.
It doesn't. It literally doesn't. So being able to separate, which is why magic is so powerful, and we've been able to hide it for however many years. Being able to separate the allegory with the literary, or from the literary. Being able to distinguish between the two. When we're talking allegorically or when we're talking literally. And watch this. Sometimes I'll say something that's literal, but what I'll say. Everything I just said for the past 30 seconds is an allegory. Why do I do that?
To get them off her back.
Not to get them on my, they can't get on it.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I do that is to help people's minds relax who think they understand what I'm saying and think they can debunk it, but they don't exist within that realm. And to also tell the people who do exist within that realm, it's like an inside joke. We know these people are clueless, but go ahead.
I mean, all I was going to do was bring up visualization, and if you would speak more on that and the power of that.
Visualization?
With the mind?
Yeah, that's magic within itself. So most of magic is visuals, which is why we're able to take symbols and sigils and do all the, watch the Doctor Strange movie, and you'll see all the visuals that went into the spells they were doing. Even if it was just a symbol, there's a visual that goes there. So let's say if I want to cast somebody into darkness. Now let me stop right there. Explain what I meant just then.
Either you were sending darkness to be, I don't want to say thrown, but to come over this person, or you're manipulating this person's being to go. You're throwing a line.
I want you to pay attention to two words you said.
Okay.
Out of all of that, either, or.
Okay.
Which is either, and or, which is what?
Light.
Exactly. So, firstly, I'm not going to send darkness anywhere. I'm going to remove light. Darkness is the absence of light. You see what I'm explaining to you? And then there's a connectivity between that which is light and that which is the connector of light, which is ether. And then that which is not light, which is darkness. So where does ether sit? In between or and darkness. Right? So ether sits between lightness and darkness. So if I say I'm going to cast someone into darkness, what I'm saying is I'm going to change their visuals. You with me? And the only way I could change somebody's visuals is either through hallucination, through illusion, or through psychosis. Right? Mm-hmm. Because the light is an illusion within itself. Mm-hmm. And then the hallucination, I could give them a substance. Or the psychosis, I could give them a substance. You with me? Both of those are substances. They stand under me or anything that I project out. Does that make sense? So it's not hard to cast somebody into darkness because the realm that they exist within is already based off illusion. They're already in darkness. Just remove the light. And there are multiple ways to remove light. One of the ways to remove light is to provide somebody with another illusion that light can actually be removed. Mm-hmm. You see where I'm going with this? This is magic. Mm-hmm. That's why the adepts are able to add depth.
And because of that,
mm-hmm.
You even said it earlier. You were like, you might come forth with something that's never been done before. Get out of your mind. Does it make sense? Is that safe to say? Or are you going to tell me to explain it?
You say get out of your mind? Explain it.
All those boundaries and all those limitations that you or society or whatever has, like, that you're able to identify. Even if you're able to identify them, that awareness is the first step. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, now that I know what this is, I'm going to push it out the way and move on and see if I can find anything else that's in my way that's keeping me from...
To form new reactions.
Yeah.
Because you're not necessarily going to create anything new. You can't. Yet you can yield new things. Mm-hmm. Or new formations. And new will be relative. Mm-hmm. Because what you think is new, we might have had that already. Yeah. Or what we think is new, y'all might have had that already. Mm-hmm. You see? So it's all goes back to elementary knowledge. Mm-hmm. Elementary principles. If you understand those, then you can form new reactions. So getting out of your mind in that regard would be dealing with, for one, either you under psychosis, which most people are. You have to remedy that. Or you get out of your own way. Get out of your head. You get out of your own way. To say, okay, for example, 666 was a curse. It trapped the spiritual community. It happened so long ago they don't know it happened. And they did it by using a half-truth of chemistry, right? Which isn't even really a half-truth, right? But still, because it's less than that. But it cursed people and damned them or condemned them to darkness. So they don't understand that black and white didn't have anything to do with race. It had everything to do with awareness. How much you know, how much you don't know. You with me?
I can hear you.
Okay. And in chemistry, you must know what you're doing. That will be your only obtaining of darkness, is knowing what the chemical mysteries are, or the dark mysteries are. Dark magic, black magic. And if you don't know it, it don't matter what you do, you'll blow the lab up. So these people have blown up the lab talking about 666 is us. Because the other side is laughing. Because them niggas walking around with their jersey on. Saying, we gonna fight them. You can't fight them with that frequency. It's too low. Then they say, well, 666 is just 999. Carbon, neither of them has 99. It doesn't have 999. 9 protons, 9 electrons, 9 neutrons. And then there are multiple versions of carbon, 12, 13, 14. There are multiple forms of it, and neither of them is saying 999. So no, they tricked you. You understand that? And even if it was that, you're trying to make an allegory out of something as an element without understanding the science of the element itself. Because then you're separated from that science when you think carbon only exists in melanin-dominant people, and then you think carbon is melanin, but then there are so many elements that fit into carbon. I mean, into melanin. They're cast into darkness. Light has been removed, which you're just moving it again. That's removing. If I remove this water, it's still here. I just removed it. It was already moved to get there. You with me? So I'm going to remove it again. I just removed it. Then how is it there? Exactly, right? Because I moved it again. So I come and remove the light. And instead of that, now I gave you this. Say, drink up. Right? So let me tell you what this is. I take chemistry, I remove it, and I give you alchemy. And say, go find the philosopher's stone. Go find how to transmute or transmutate lead into gold. Okay. Here go astronomy. I'm going to remove that. And say here go what? Astrology. So now you got astrology. You think you understand astronomy. While we kept astronomy for ourselves. Okay, one more time. So here goes philosophy. I'm going to take that and I'm going to give you what? Religion. You have religion. We don't really need that. We already played with that. It don't work. It doesn't work for us. It'll work for you in the dark world. Okay. All right. We're going to remove this. We're going to remove science. And we're going to give you what? Spirituality. Yeah, we don't need spirituality. It don't work. It's useless. Right? Meaning we're going to use that less, if at all. But you're going to use it more, so you're going to think you can make more use of it. You can, in a dark world. Because you don't know nothing. What else they take and gave us? There's a lot of that. We can go on about it all day. I love this one. We're going to take mathematics from you. And we're going to give you sacred geometry. Or, here, you can have this too. Gematria. We take actual math from you and give you all the rest of this. Okay. Oh, we're going to take technology from you. And we're going to give you what? Here go magic. Here, you don't want it? There go magic for you right there. You don't want it? Right there, take it. All right, cool. And there's so many things like that. Oh, we're going to take the extraterrestrial stories away from you. And we're going to give you what? God. It's just that simple. You don't want that? God, play with it. Yeah, you can have that for the rest of your life. And your generations after that will have that. So This is you can't drink the shades. Is my point. But you can drink the water. Are you trying to find a way to drink the shades? You trying to find a way to drink the shades? Or you trying to think of a way to drink the shades? Get out of your head. Get out of your mind. Get out of your own way. That's what they trying to argue me now. We can't drink this. We are carbon. I said, okay, you can have that. I'm gonna drink this water. You know what I'm saying? Anything else? I mean, I'm pretty wise.
Did you have anything?
How do you know? I don't know if you'll answer it. How do you know if someone's doing magic against you?
There are different tells. First of all, you gotta make sure you're not doing it. Make sure you're not doing magic against yourself. And magic against yourself is you haven't been keeping up with what you said you were gonna do. Or you're straying away from your morals or things like that. That's magic against yourself. But some of the short tail signs see somebody doing magic against you is they checking on you out of nowhere. Or they sending people that are your people. And they're mutuals. And the mutuals are checking on you out of nowhere. They don't even say nothing to you. But out of nowhere, the moment that you start wondering whether or not magic is being done, they pop up and they checking on you. Say, hey, how is this person? That's one of the ways that you also know they probably doing magic on somebody around you. And they're checking in to see, because they're weak, right? Most people need verbal confirmation. We look for whether or not there's going to be a yellow bird today. That's how in tune we are. Well, other people are looking like, hey, we haven't heard from y'all in a while. How's your mom? And don't respond. That's me. I never respond, especially if somebody asks about my mom. Because damn near everybody got an issue with my own me in the spirit world. So you asking about my own me, I know we about to hear about you soon. Because you're looking for, you want me to play with you in the dark. No, turn the light on. I'm not responding. Now, I'm not going to say too much. But people, whole families, and it was stuff that didn't have anything to do with anything. It just, they fuck with the wrong shit. And broken limbs, you can know. People breaking their legs come up broken. What the hell happened? We already know what happened. It wasn't you either. Most of the time it ain't even the person. It be because somebody done touched some shit, right? Or people wind up, you know what I mean? It's all kind of stuff. But it's a lot of stupid people in my mama's life. Let me just put that on record. I watched this since I was young. They've been trying to hex my umi unsuccessfully since I was young. And then they grew up trying to do it to me, and then it got worse. There's a lot of stupid people in their life that done cause people to perish because they won't let it go. They done lost all kinds. It's just all kind of stuff they didn't have to lose. But why you keep trying to fuck with her, it's automatic. Same thing they did to Pop. People try to fuck with him, and then they all dropped away. And things was happening to them. All the people doing them little coffee spells, all of that stuff happens. They got jammed up, literally, sometimes. So one of the ways you can know is anxiety. I just gave you one. Another way was the phone call. Or people texting, trying to check in on you out of nowhere, and you ain't even heard from them. That's magic. They popping up, and you think it's random, but no, it's not random. You got to know who sent them. And I always know. It'd be funny. And sometimes I'll respond just to fuck with them. Because they'll think they got it, but then I'm leading them somewhere different. But most of the time, I just let them just exist wherever they exist in that plane of waiting on a response. You know what I'm saying? So, random communication. Anxiety. You feeling anxious out of nowhere. That's magic. That's not a negative sign. It's a good sign that you're on point. Okay, and you have a decision of whether or not you're going to take it as a positive or a negative sign. But if you get anxious out of nowhere, somebody might be touching something. Okay, if you ever feel like somebody's grabbing your hair, you ever felt that?
Not hair or anything on my head, but other parts of my body.
Specifically your hair, your crown.
Okay.
I felt that. I'm going to give you a small story. I was dating someone in high school, and she...
Cut to the chase. Is it because they're doing work with your hair?
It could be that. So if you do want to, yeah. So the main thing of that story was I gave one of my exes one of my locks. And she had a very evil-ass pastor. Her name was Pastor Anita. And her mama was scared of the pastor. And her mama was scared of me. The pastor was scared of me. So there's a whole system. And her mom was scared of the pastor because the pastor had like this Messiah authority. It was a woman. And her mama was afraid of me because he's walking around with this big ass unk on my chest. And she thought I was some Illuminati devil worshiper. And she raised up in the church. And her daughter didn't fuck with none of it. She was just curious about what was going on with any of it. She wanted to learn more. So, long story short, the pastor didn't like me, tried to talk her mother into separating us. But we're rebellious teens. We're going to be together. All of that stuff. And I just remember one of these shadows, because I gave her the lock. And one of these shadows, there was a TV that popped up in my dream. And there was a white girl that popped up, a cartoon character. And she was like, she got your hair. I said, who got my hair? And she said, the pastor. She got your hair. So when she said that, I felt like someone was grabbing my locks at the top of my head. And I woke up with the feeling like somebody was grabbing my locks. So I called my ex and was like, yo, where's my lock? And she was like, what'd she say? She said she gave it to her mom because her mom thought I was doing voodoo by giving her the lock. I said, you gave your mother my lock and you didn't tell me. She said, no. She said, but she asked, well, I said, where is it now? She said, she flushed it. I said, did you see her flush it? And she was like, no, but she told me she flushed it. I said, your pastor has my lock and I'm coming to church to get it in the AM. On my whole soul. I had poster boards. I went and got a poster board, drew a big ass red pentagram on it. I put family on one point, facility on another point. I put finances on another point. I filled each point up with the letter F, a word, and put Anita in the middle. We had a barbecue grill. I went in on a barbecue grill, lit that bitch up. I'm talking about the little squeezy thing, what you call it? The liquid, the thing.
Fire starter fluid.
Flyers, all that. Put that shit on there, lit that shit up, and watched it burn until it was done. And this is in the AM now. I went and packed my book bag up with sage, Mars oil. Listen, if I'm lying, I'm flying. I got on the bus. I was on my way. At 10:30, I was on my way. And my girl was going to be there. What'd she say? The pastor canceled church. I said, what you mean the pastor canceled church? No, like, what you mean? Like, what you mean she canceled church? She said, she told the whole church. She stopped church. She told everybody, evil is on the way. She said, y'all go home. You want to know why she did that? Because I was on the fucking way. And you want to know what I was going to do? I was going to walk up the middle of her congregation right in front of her. I had the whole plan. I was going to have my sage lit. Then I was going to wrap her ass up in front of everybody. And then I was going to wrap her feet up in front of everybody. And then I was going to walk out with her shit. For even playing with me, why did you do that? I was going to walk out with her shit. You weren't going to be able to do that because as soon as she would have seen me, she would have froze. So she said, evil is on the way. And canceled church. My whole life. Ain't nobody creative enough to make no shit up like that.
Canceled church.
She canceled it. She told them folks I was on the way and called me evil. Call me what you want to. I'm coming to get your shit from you. I was going to walk off with her shit. And all that I put on there, facility, family, everything, that was next. That was leaving next. Huh?
No.
What? Oh, you said she would have did that? Oh, that's who coming through right now? Oh, yeah. You better believe it. Shit, I wasn't the nigga who was sitting around playing with toy. When my homie was doing magic, I was right there with her. You right, that is her. I got the spirit of my homie coming through me. Sometimes my homie get activated in me. So I would come. Ooh, I was coming. Oh, man. I was like, this lady smart as hell. I had to respect it, though, because that means she had to have some millions who was like, that nigga on the way. Don't fuck with this one. And she ain't do shit. Ever since then, she was nice to me. She was nice as hell to me since that moment. She asked me how everything was going. We go over to they had houses in the community. We go over to the house. She took care of little people. Not little people, but like she took care of elders. And, you know, I remember she was just being nice to me, offering me shit, all kind of stuff when I came through there since then. But we knew. Spirituality that people think is out here, that shit is a joke to us. What's really known is unspoken. And she told everybody I was on the way because I was coming to snatch that shit straight from her. And I wanted her lineage. And whatever I request, especially in the flesh, is coming. Is mine. I don't leave. I have authority. So I don't leave it up to nothing. And you shouldn't have violated. Why would you do that? So she thought she hit because my ex didn't know what she was doing. And she gave it away. And so she think, okay, I got him. Man, that lady probably burned that shit that day. You better. I ain't never heard nobody do that. Evil's on the way. Man, wait. If evil on the way, show people how powerful God is. That's what I could think of. Evil on the way, show them how powerful God is. She knew what was going on. But yeah, the point is, yeah, what was the point? Oh yeah. That's one of the ways. So if you ever feel like your crown is shriveling, somebody fucking with some shit, they could have your DNA. Yeah, other parts too. Spasms. It could be a tell. Like if you have muscle spasms out of nowhere, that could be a tell. Voodoo doctors, voodoo priests, a lot of them like to play with bodies or frames. So, especially if they don't have like your blood and things like that, they have to make like images. Images and after likeness, all that. So if you feel like stabs, like you have a stabbing in your back, or a stabbing in your knee, or a stabbing in your foot, somebody playing with your dog. Right? And I would tell you how to handle that, but there's so many different ethics and codes that I'll be violating. So I have to say it a different way. Return it. Reject it and reverse it. You've seen me do this in person. And this was about 2 years ago or a year ago, maybe earlier 2024. We went to a room. And we both were talking about different pains that we had on our shoulder. I don't know if you remember this. Mm-hmm. But you saw what I did. I went to that window and used the fog on the window. I ain't have no pen. I ain't have none of that. I used the fog on the window and lit that shit up, and it was gone. And I had called Umi to let her know, like, yo, somebody fucking with some shit. And I know they probably trying to fuck with me. They could be coming near there. So Umi got on guard, ready to go. That shit was handled. There was a time where my stepfather was going to a barber to do love spells against my Umi. And he had went to go to the tub. I had to be like maybe 8, 9 years old. But yeah, I went to the tub and he left his leather jacket. And some told Umi, check that shit. Mm-hmm. So she checked it, and it was a red ruby bag where I think she said either gold or whatever color wrapped up. Mm-hmm. And she picked it up. They said, unwrap it and tie it in the opposite direction. So she unwrapped it and tied it in the opposite direction. They were trying to do love spell. Then there was another group of barbers and somebody that was doing, because I went to the actual temple. So I knew them because they had been working with my stepfather. So doing construction, stuff like that, jobs and stuff like that. But I went into their basement and all I saw was what? Red light, amber light. And that's all their basements. Every barber got a basement like that or a dungeon like that, where it's red light, cow tongues, cow skins, goat skins, candles, skulls, bones, beads. If you go down in there, you're going to know exactly what their frequency is, right? So that was the first time I went down in there. My Umi was showing me, she said, this is why they like that amber light, that feeling you get. They love that feeling, that adrenaline, that vampire, like niggas say, I'm an anti-vampire. That vampire type feeling, they love that darkness. So, yeah, so the dude wound up trying to do magic against my Umi for my stepfather, according to what she was saying. Right? Because I didn't witness that part, but I did witness the other parts. And shortly after, there was an earthquake that hit Haiti. And guess who family was in the earthquake? No, I'm not talking about in the earthquake, like, oh shit, you felt that?
No, like
I mean, like, it's over. They passed away. And he had to go out there and find his family to bury them. But why would you do that? Why would you do that? Because you're supposed to have people, we called it familia, or la familia. You had to have la familia around you saying, don't do that. Right? Or don't touch them. If you didn't, it was so fucked up. So many things I've witnessed. I said, why people want, my thing, I used to ask my mom, why people just won't leave you, why won't anyone just leave you alone? But they always try it, so yeah. Oh, look, my Umi, ooh, she been out here the whole time. She yelling, it's true! She been out here the whole time. I didn't even see you when we rolled back. It's true! That was the third time I sent it back. Exactly. So yeah, it's real. It's real. I don't know. I was just saying, Umi, I don't know why people keep playing. They wind up losing people. You know what I mean? All kind of stuff be happening. And I want people to be clear because you know they watching me. I'm not saying we're doing anything. We're not. I'll be saying it'd be stuff that have nothing to do with us. Car accidents, all kind of stuff. And it's like, what, okay. And then we'll know who was doing what because that's your people's. It's so dark. And it be people that be claiming they family, but they don't fuck with you. So yeah. But that's another, it's multiple ways. I can be here all day talking about ways you can know how magic is happening.
Because even when you were talking about that.
Telepathy.
Telepathy.
Yeah, I like it. I like saying it like that. Telepathy.
The other day, I was changing the light in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And I was cycling through the LEDs.
Tour.
And I got to red. And I got that feeling that you were talking about. I was like, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
I turned it.
Exactly.
Why? Why do they like that? What does it do for them?
It validates them. You know what I mean? You like chaos. You're a chaotic being. It's all that.
The high thing?
Huh?
Is it the high thing? You said they like that feeling, that adrenaline rush.
Oh, I get what you're saying. You could call it that. Call it a low. Or you could call it that. Maybe they do get a high off of it. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's one of their ceilings. They can't go much further. So, okay, why do people like going to raves? That's a frequency. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And it's not always a race thing. Right?
Melanin and dominant people go to raves too.
But we typically don't.
You don't find a lot of them there.
You don't. I don't know who there. Because I don't go. So if you find any of them there, you there. I don't go to raves because it's not my shit. I also don't go to clubs though. Mm-hmm. So there ain't even there's just no rave thing. But then there's a limit. So let me explain to you the difference in frequency. Because they both low.
They typically have.
And then we'll raise it high.
Those lights.
They have the lights. The rays be green.
The
It's the frequency.
Not always.
They will do green light, blue light, secondary colors.
They cycle through them.
Yeah.
But
unless you had like a rage concert or some shit, a lot of they shit be like orange, red, black. They'll turn the shit off, all kind of shit. But the main thing is that that's banging you upside your head over and over and over again, and they love it.
Drums and bass.
And they pop pills to it.
That's my next point.
Okay.
Like you don't always have to go to a rave and do
low vibratory things. Yep.
But the drugs enhance it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your element. Like you keep doing it.
There you go. The club too. People doping themselves up, drinking, right? And they listening to these racket frequencies. So, again, it's more about nature. Because I know somebody I met that was another Omari. When I met him, he had the 666 carved into his arm. All of that. He's into That's why he came through as Anubis. That's Anubis. He dark. And he was into every dark thing you could think about. He just into the shit. And he would do the black eyes and the piercing in the face and all that skin cutting up yourself. That was him. But when I met him, he was 666. And we were supposed to do an album. We never did it. But it was going to be called 720 to represent that there are even different polarities of Omari. And that's his biological name. You with me? So I couldn't fuck with the shit he fucked with. I respected him. Same thing with the Bobbers. I respect the Bobbers. I just don't fuck with what you fuck with. Same reason why I can't be around Tassili and them people so long. Like her peoples, I can't be around. I could be around Tassili. I think because of where she coming from with it. But all her mans, I'll be there and walk out with their head. You know what I'm saying? Because they think what a lot of Amberlite people lack is the ability to be perspicacious. The ability to be on point about someone when you see them beyond what it looks like. They can't see past illusion. So they'll think you just one of her little friends. And I'll be having to leave. Because what? And that's my Umi. I know that's my Umi coming through again. Because I'm not one of her little friends. Right? One of the first things Cecilia said to me, she was like, why you chose to wear your hair like that? Because I met her when I was 13. Had my hair pulled back in the ponytail with the little things kind of like leading down from the front. I said, I just like the hairstyle. She said, that's a warrior hairstyle. But I had been sitting up in her temple, that temple that's next to her shit. I had been sitting up there, and I noticed that there was a sister behind the little dividers. They had dividers that separated the room. And, like, you know the movie where niggas going through, like, werewolf transformations? And you can see the silhouette? That's how she kept walking through doing. And I'm talking to Tassili in my brain, and she's saying, it's because you here. That this lady behind the fucking dividers was getting irritated. And I wasn't saying shit, and I'm 13. But she sensed emerald, and that shit irritates them to even sense emerald. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. But we wound up, having that conversation. That's all she said to me, though. Had niggas rubbing her feet, all kind of stuff. She moved different. Everybody around her is mans. There's no other Tassili around Tassili. You with me? Sure. Everybody's a man. Why? Because she's Professor X. She in everybody's head. You know what I mean? All right. Two, it does bother them. But yeah, I fuck with Tassili though. I fuck with a lot of Amberlite people. I just can't be around what they around. And they have to understand when it comes time. It's like Muhammad Ali versus Frazier. They weren't enemies. They just boxed. So we in a time of boxing. So you gonna see me box a lot of people? I don't hate them. But what you doing with that jersey on? Come here. And then they got to get in the ring with me. That's all. Any other question?
Superstitions.
Mm-hmm.
What is and isn't to be believed? Because there's always going to be some truth to stuff. But, like, to what degree does it become blown out of proportion or misrepresented over time or whoever's saying it? Does that make sense?
It does. Okay. Like throwing salt over the shoulder, walking up under a ladder. That goes into the power of the mentality or the mind, consciousness, the variable that people overlook.
So all is mind? Literally all is mind.
The universe is mind. All is mental. Or the universe is mental, all is mind. It's a whole thing. Yeah. Tour, but also this is the reason why I'm pacing myself to explain it. Tour. Because that doesn't mean superstition isn't real.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said there's always going to be some element of truth.
Tour. And you want to know what the most prevalent element of truth is? People are dumb. People are dumb. So sometimes they need super stitching. You need to, you just need to stitch their ass up.
And that was my thing. All right. So when you were talking about the pastor and using the sage to wrap her up, like.
Oh, what I meant by wrap up, it's a wrap.
I know what you mean.
Okay, go ahead. I was gonna walk away with her soul.
My mind escalated it to sweeping because you're clearing something.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, when is it right and when is it not right?
Superstition?
No.
Are we still on superstition?
Yes.
Okay, when is what right? When is...
Like with the sweeping thing, like we talked about this.
Oh, like sweeping somebody?
Sweeping somebody's feet with a broom versus sweeping somebody's feet with...
Okay, so let me tell you what my thing is. My thing is...
Intention?
Respect.
Okay.
Traditionally, our elders... Pay attention now. Because if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. Traditionally, our elders did certain things a certain way. And we honor it by doing it that way. We honor them. Right? So, Bruce Almighty. Remember that movie? The nigga was mopping and he was asking him, do you got time to help me mop? Imagine you clean your house a certain way because your grandmother cleaned her house a certain way. Y'all clean it together. You see what I'm saying? Or you sweep your porch because your grandmama used to sweep her porch. And you use the same type of broom. Y'all sweeping together. Right? You don't sweep somebody's feet because you're sweeping them out of your life because your grandmama said so. Respect. You respecting and honoring her by not sweeping nobody's foot. It don't have anything to do with whether or not you actually sweeping them out of your life. Now, here's something else you need to consider. I say, listen, so you don't miss it. Them elders was more in tune about reality than we are. So they saw when somebody swept somebody's feet and they died. And they saw it not one time. The old wives' tales was a lot of old wives. And I'm saying wives, not wives. A lot of old elder women through our bloodlines was like, okay, that's 70 people that have got their feet swept and died within the next 2 weeks. So don't sweep nobody's feet. Or, okay, that's the 14th person this year that had their hat on the table and then they died. You see what I'm saying? Don't put your hat on the table. They were given wisdom that we may not understand, but because we don't understand it, we definitely not going to buck against it.
So,
and maybe it was in our bloodline so we can know. Go ahead.
Even with that, going back to the grimoire thing, it's like general stuff. But what if the general stuff doesn't work for you? And then you went back to the work for you, and then it's the whole thing. Like black cats, they say like, oh, if it crosses your path, then bad luck is coming to you, or you're gonna get hurt or something. But like, there was a day and time for that.
That's white people. Excuse me. You know what I mean? For real though, that was them white people. The white people used to say shit like the Wiccans used to say stuff like that. That ain't our shit. So sometimes you may be adhering to a super stitching that ain't stitching you in. It's stitching. You're trying to link in with somebody else's bloodline shit. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
They might have been scared of black cats. They might have. That's go all the way back to Salem, the witch trials. They were afraid of certain things, so they tried to kill it or make it be ousted. And anybody that even aligned with it, even if they were Caucasoid, if a Caucasoid dressed in all black and tried to adhere to the Wiccan side, they got scared of them because that was taking them closer to Egypt, even if they weren't. That's why they started drawing the little lines and doing a little makeup, making them look Egyptian, and doing a lot of Egyptian shit. They snuck it in with Aleister Crowley, the Thelemites, because he started doing books like the Book of Thoth and all of that. They're like, oh, they're going to take them back to Egyptians. So they got scared of them. You see what I'm saying? But the black cat is a black cat. You witnessed me sit outside and talk to a black cat telepathically. Cat looking at me, I'm looking at him. So black cats are not a bad sign to us.
On that note, are familiars a white people thing? Or can that be a melanin dominant thing? And then is it a lower
What do you mean by
frequency
familiars?
or a higher frequency thing? Like how they say in, like with the Salem witch trials, when it comes to the black cat or any kind of birds, crows, dark birds or wolves or anything like that, they say, oh, whenever you see this, this is linked to that person because they're either going to do work for them or they work for them, and to some degree, some way, somehow they're like linked. Like
it depends on your level of awareness.
Okay.
Because you'll be looking for the crow, and you won't be paying attention to something that's more subtle, like the worm. So it depends on your level of awareness. However, a crow could signify one or two things: that one of your ancestors got eyes on you, right? And they trying to warn you about something. Or that's one of somebody else's eyes.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, is that a lower frequency thing? Or can that...
It's not lower or higher.
Okay.
It depends on your awareness.
To what?
You understand? It's not a low frequency for somebody to send eyes to watch you. It's not a low frequency for ancestors of yours to send eyes to warn you. Because they got eyes on you. That's not low or high. That's just what it is. Now, will you be aware of it? Now, your lack of awareness could lead you to habits that could lead to lower vibratory existence. You see what I'm saying? But the occurrence of somebody sending, they have every right to do that. If you don't know that they did that, that's your problem. You see what I'm saying? Now, what you can do is set up booby traps. So that when them birds come through, they die. That way you going to know. A crow come through and just fall. Okay, you already know. And then another thing about it is you'll know who would do certain types of magic. Like, for instance, I don't do what? Snake magic. I don't do it. That doesn't mean that nobody in my bloodline did. I don't touch it. You see what I'm saying? So if somebody come talking about snakes or snake magic, like even when we did the music video, you saw how I didn't put that in my video? I'm like, I'm not even putting it in my video because everything in my video I overstand about. From the down to the lemon, you hear me? I overstand about even down to the women walking around you in a circle or all black attire. Everything I understood about. And I'm not saying I don't understand about the snake. But when it's in my video, I know that that's a frequency that other magicians, and I'm not associated with APEP in his order at all. And I didn't come through certain orders that taught certain medicinal practices. And certain medicinal practices did involve snakes because their venom. Okay. You with me? So I'm not saying that the snake is a negative symbol. It's just that I understand how symbols work in this reality. And if I'm going to put out a symbol, it's going to be a symbol that I'm actually associated with. Same thing with my music. You with me? So the crow ain't a negative symbol. The crow could be a positive symbol. Same thing with a raven.
I said all dark birds. And then that deviated away from the cat. Or even other stuff.
It depends on who sent the cat. Maybe one of your ancestors sent it. Or a friend. You with me? Imagine it like flowers showing up at your doorstep. Do you know how to read the note? Do you know who would send you? Okay, let's say only one of your exes knows that you really love orchids. Or whatever them niggas is. Okay. Or you really love tulips, 3 lips, all them. Right? And, okay, tulips. You say, I really love tulips. Okay? So they like, all right, I'll remember that for life. And then 10 years later, tulips show up at the door. Right? You know who sent tulips. You pick it up and say, who lips is these? So he said, oh no, I know who sent these tulips. Hey, how the fuck tulips get all the damn stuff?
Stop it.
Right?
To what?
You already know who sent because you know who would send that.
To what?
All right. If a crow shows up, you know who in your life would send a crow.
To what?
Or who that crow would be for.
And then that was another thing.
Real quick, I want to say this. Okay. Don't miss this.
To what?
It's about awareness.
To what?
That's gonna separate you from all these little ones that ain't doing magic. They like playing. They playing dress up. They doing the stage magic, the illusionary magic. Like the lady comes, they do the speaking in tongues, and they think that if they show their face and start saying it tougher, that it works more. And we just sit there and heckle them like, oh, I'm not feeling nothing. It's not working. They don't give you but one line. That's the same line over and over again. When you gonna change it? Shift it up because we don't know. We know you don't know what you're saying. And then you're talking about, oh, something dog, a degular, stickler, that is Zeus, Baphomet. You're just calling out shit. You got some weak ass people. And then when she's like, I learned from Dolores. I said, all I hear is delirious. We're different. Go ahead, I'm listening.
I was going to say, who's Dolores?
Whoever the fuck Dolores is delirious.
Whoever that is.
It's delirious, hilarious, all of that. That's what it is. But I'm looking at tones. That's all I could think when she said it. I'm learned from delirious. That explains it. You're delirious. And then I give you the opportunity. I'm speaking a light language. You're right. Because that language is light to us. That ain't shit. That's light work. You with me? And the nigga that was on the live, he was getting like nervous. And he started like moving toward her. I'm just saying, we don't know whether or not she did. Bro, you are a fucking muggle.
That happened?
No, that's for real. That was on Heavy Live.
Yeah, I have it.
I'm just saying, we don't know, so he all he's saying is he needs something tangible. He's not able to see the level you're on. Bro, be quiet. You're involving yourself in something. I'm about to step back. Whatever the fuck she's spinning, that shit gonna jump right through your rectangle. We just don't know. We don't know whether or not it's real. So you scared. Shut your little bitty ass up. Why would I be afraid of her? She don't even know the language she's speaking. Then she said, well, I have to sit down. I said, well, I'll wait. Take some time to have a seat. Well, I'm sitting down. You're a fucking liar. So first of all, automatically, the liar's word and the truth word, or the truth speaker's word, those are two different frequencies, two different weights, two different impacts. Right? You can dodge a lie. You cannot duck the truth. One more time. For everybody who's listening, you can dodge the shit out of a lie. Can't duck the truth. Y'all see how many people come on here lying? And then the truth, they get wrapped their ass up in it. And they change their whole tongue and approach. That's the truth. I'm pretty wise. So, anything else? Man, listen, if you don't lead a class like that, you ain't taught nothing. If the class don't go silent, you ain't said shit. That was my just type too. What they said, Gerard said that. I gotta use that one, big dog. Which one? Which one? Which one? Shit. Everybody thinking about what I just said, including me. That was a lot, wasn't it? You see what the divine part about it was? The sisters came in. That wasn't planned, rehearsed, none of that. It was just mosquitoes.
Oh.
It was just mosquitoes. That's as deep as it gets.
Why you came in?
Yep. Magic plus law of correspondence. One and the same. Law of correspondence and Hecker are twins. You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. What? Where are you at? Like, where are you at that these items are being thrown at you? That shit crazy.
Well, how do you know you're ready? This sounds... All right. There are no stupid questions. How do you know you're ready to level up?
That was a stupid question. All right. How do you know you're ready to level up? If you can ask that.
To what?
If you can ask that. I'm not being funny.
I know.
If you can ask that.
Half these questions weren't for me.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
If you can ask that, you're ready. You're ready. You're ready to level up. And level up is a process. You don't teleport to the next floor. You take steps. Or you go on the way. Elevator or escalator. Right? You take steps. L something. You get closer to the guy. Right? Or you take the stairs, mean you might want to look at something longer. All this is a process. But that's how you know you're ready. If you asking, yo, how you know if you're ready to lead this motherfucker? You got a job. Say, yo, man, how you know if you ready to quit this motherfucker? Like, that's how I hear. Then you ready. You ready to quit.
That's what they hear too.
Yeah, but they want what?
Not the people who's asking, but the employer.
Well, what does the person want?
Freedom.
They want validation and confirmation.
Oh yeah, that too.
That's what they want. A lot of times when people get
When
readings,
people get asked.
they just want a confirmation. They want something, even if it's cars. You know people dumb, right? Even if it's cars, people like, can something agree with me so that I can be motivated to do what the fuck I already know I need to do?
Like, all right, it's sinners.
If it's sticks and bones, exactly.
She already knew. La ilaha illallah. All right, that's it. That's all I got.
She already knew what?
She was throwing the stuff, because it wasn't just bones, but she was throwing the objects, and one, she already knew what the creatures were. She deduced that. Two, I mean, maybe she didn't know that night her life was going to end, but definitely after throwing the whatever. And then she threw it twice, like it was going to change. It's stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you already knew.
Yeah.
What are you doing trying to change it?
Yeah. Confirmation. You ever do this thing, you pull a card, it give you the answer you're looking for, and instead of asking for a clarity card, you ask for a card that's going to debunk it? You ever did that? Meaning,
I know what you mean.
you're trying to say, which is so interesting because you can't lie to source.
You.
Right.
Too.
Right. It's one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
So
you already know the answer.
you got the answer. They gave you the answer.
To one.
And then you be like, nah.
Exactly.
Let me see if you'll give me another answer. And then they give you a double down answer.
To what?
You see what I'm saying? You saw what they get. They did a movie called Carmen, the hip opera. And they showed an example of that.
Oh.
Where somebody was pulling cards and her card kept coming up as death. And she thought if she kept getting another card, but then they threw the whole deck up and every card was death. Saying the cards don't lie. Now, do the cards lie? No. They don't. That's the difference between somebody being able to read and somebody being able to read. Somebody pull the card, they just read the words. Or they pull the card and they can read the card to you.
Well, when I say that, I mean, like, anything could be a window.
Mm-hmm.
Anything could be manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe you're not seeing what you're seeing.
You sound like a person right now.
La ilaha.
It's not a bad thing. It's a good lesson in it because those who know the cards don't lie. You want to know how you know? Because sometimes you pick up the deck, right? But what happened? Something what?
Pops out.
Pop out.
Mm-hmm.
How? Well, it's just regular physics.
No.
Exactly. That popped out for who? You did this before. You come in the house, you drop the card, and they slid toward who? Me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'll take those.
To what?
I need these.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see what these mean.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So, but for those who the cards lie to, that's their reality. For those who understand, not only can the cards not lie, because the cards are you.
And that's what I'm saying.
You can't lie to you.
And that's what I'm saying. So, once again,
Superstition.
not for me. Because what if you're touching something you're not supposed to be touching?
You will know you're not supposed to be touching it if you don't understand what it is.
Like a Ouija board.
What is a Ouija board?
A portal.
To what?
Which anything could be a portal. That's what I'm saying.
Is a portal to what?
Anything. A portal to you.
Well, you shouldn't touch Ouija boards.
I don't have any information.
Okay, just let you know that, just so we clear. Well, I've explained that even the phones are Ouija boards.
Exactly.
The Ouija boards were to communicate with whoever was able to move through at that time to use it too. Because you're overlapping frequencies
You didn't
using your magnetism.
need to be dead either.
You didn't have to necessarily be dead, but the main thing was those who passed away
That was the main thing. That's what it was known for.
because of overlapping frequency.
Sure.
Meaning somebody can stand where you are, in you, not you, and move and respond.
Because it's like a telephone.
Right.
Ring, ring, pick up. Hello.
So who are you talking to?
Exactly.
You had to know who you were talking to.
Mm-hmm.
And that, again, that wasn't for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They got big-ass Ouija boards in the middle of Salem. That's not for everybody. And the reason why it's in the middle of Salem is because there's a Salem in damn near every state. And that's their asylum. And they meet there in secret. And they talk about necro shit, dead shit, shit that's happening that they done got a message from their ancestors. They still be doing that shit. And there be a lot of them Caucasians do that shit. And the Wiccans be doing that. They be in tune. And one thing you'll know about Wiccans, especially those types of people, you come around them, they'll be offended if you in their presence. How many people know what I'm talking about? Them Wiccans will get offended if you in their presence. What did you do? You didn't do anything but be in their presence. Because the type of shit they touch and they experience and they ascended to, they don't even fuck around. It's like Moors not supposed to be messing around with corporate chattel. They don't even fuck around with the little ones. You ever walked into one of their stores?
Mm-hmm.
You felt that?
Mm-hmm.
And there's one lady.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see security?
It was a dude.
Or one dude. Did you see security?
Mm-hmm.
You was in one of their places.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have security.
Mm-hmm.
They damn near don't got locked their shop. Because they that fucking focused on, first of all, they gather together in places like Little 5 Points. And they called it that for a reason. They got a big one and a little one. And they gather there. And you want to know what their business is? People. They're not selling products. You thought you believe that? No, they're sourcing people. People walk up and down that strip daily. And each and every one of those stops, people getting sourced from. Ancestors getting snatched. Luck getting snatched. Abundance getting snatched. People losing their phone. Da-da-da-da. And all that shit going to them. I walked into one of their stores one time. I don't know what the fuck told me to do this. But something said, hey, you see that door by the bathroom door? I said, yeah, what about it? It said, go in it. So I went in it, and it led to a hallway. And nobody was coming. So I walked down the hallway. I walked up some stairs. And there was like this weird-ass Laura Croft setup where you walk alongside the fucking wall. So I walked alongside the wall. And I got to a bridge. Why you... Right hand to the Most High. I walked to a bridge, and between me and the bridge, meaning over the bridge, was a big-ass deer head just hanging from the ceiling. And then after you walk on the bridge, there was a door with a fat-ass pentagram on it.
Yeah, okay. I thought you said it was like behind the curtain.
No, I saw the pentagram.
Okay.
All of this probably would have been walking through that.
Okay.
I don't remember saying about no curtain, though. But there was a big-ass deer head hanging. And there was, okay, so I'm like, okay, I'm about to go see what's in here. My feet moved to go. And my voice that told me to check it out was like, we out.
Mm-hmm.
The voice don't even got to deal with any physical repercussions. And the motherfucker was like, we out. I'm like, what you mean? And I tried to move forward again. And it wasn't that there was a force field. It was that me was grabbing me by my collar and say, nigga, we not doing this. No, this what we just wanted you to see it. Don't walk in there. So I left. And I don't scare. So whatever the fuck that was, that's what these people do. The business is a cover-up. Whatever the fuck they do is either in the basement, in the den, behind it. It's not what y'all see when y'all go on these people rondos. That's not them fucking herb shops. They see me when I walk in there. And I do my best to keep it straight. Oh. That's my homie too. I already know what my homie is. I can hear it. I do my best. I try to keep a straight face. Hey, how you doing? But they see me. They whole soul like, And then I'll be with y'all, so they be like trying to keep an eye. Hi, how are you? But nah, they know when we walk in. They can sense us. And we don't do shit to them, but they get offended. They get offended when it's other people that's little in their presence, or if an Amberlite being walk in their presence, they get offended. I'm telling you, whatever them stores is, them ones that look like them hippies, and you know they ain't hippies, them witches. I mean, them witches. You see what I'm saying? And then what you'll notice is they'll come near you, and they'll be talking to other people. Hi, how are you? Yeah, you want to go ahead? Put that in the bag. Put that in the bag. They detecting you. It's a woo, woo, woo. They detecting you to see what the fuck are you doing in here. Notice when I come in there, everybody want to help everybody. Everybody leave their stations, and everybody wants to help everybody around me because they detect and say, "What the fuck is this nigga doing here? You don't belong here." You see what I'm saying? So. All right. I think we done get any other questions? We got 4% left. We got any other questions?
Well, dang. I was about to say, is there anything... It just goes back to figuring out what works for you. Because I was going to say, is there something that melanin-dominant people shouldn't touch? But that's subjective because...
It's gonna be based on a person.
Be white.
Yeah, and then it's also based on a person. Like, some people are more attracted to darker shit.
Skip a generation, it might go to your children, and maybe you just weren't in it.
You notice I talk to certain people, I'll say certain things. I'll say, yo, you need to wear more blue.
To what?
You need to probably steer away from purple and black. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't say that to everybody. To what? Some people need to wear purple. To what? So if I'm telling somebody in the middle of the purple, like, don't wear purple, it's because purple is black to that bloodline. To what? And a lot of Caucasian people start gravitating toward purple and black. But why? The darkness is more attractive to a lot of them. And it's for two different reasons. Either one, they have ancient Egyptian bloodline. And they have to go through the order of Set to get back home. Does this make sense? Yeah. They have to go back through the dark order to get home. Or they're goth in their bloodline. They're demonic in their bloodline. Mm-hmm. And they got a lot of vampires. So... sometimes I be having to show them, like, you if you touch that and you saying you want to help right now, you gonna wind up being an enemy. So you need to walk away from the darkness. Mm-hmm. Some of them I say, you need to do magic. Mm-hmm. You need to stand on your shit.
In real time.
Cause my homie grew up with a Caucasian lady, who if she get her on the phone right now, they'll do some magic together. And she was super, interested or intrigued by the ancient Egyptian culture and magic and all of that. Mm-hmm. And they grew up together. And it was two different families. Her mom and them was KKK. And my only mom and them was Black Panther. So that was a weird thing for the community. But my Umi and them was like, they can play together. The other parents probably didn't like it. I don't think they liked it, is what she was saying. But the point is, she could have been one of us at one point in time. So, again, there's been so much mixing of the bloodline. People be ruling people out just because you look at them and they say they Caucasian now. That doesn't mean they're an enemy. And just because you're looking at somebody, you see they brown skin now, calling themselves all set, that could be one of the vampires' bloodline. You see what I'm saying? And then another secret is the vampires really used to be us. But they flipped it and made the vampires seem like they was afraid of the sun because we used to love the sun. They made the vampires seem like they were some pale face because they were dark-skinned beings. Mm. The vampire made it seem like they drank blood because we understood adrenochrome or telomere extension without blood. Mm-hmm. Telomere extension was a science. Cellular rejuvenation or regeneration was a science. That's where you get keloid from. People get a little cut and they next thing you know everything bulking up. That's cellular regeneration. The ability to regrow limbs. That's what vampires have. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they finessed our own sciences. Draco in them, or Dracula in them, they had some who stole those types of abilities, but they weren't able to fully integrate. And it reversed and it caused ailments. And that became those vampires. Those were the ones who would kidnap babies and drink their blood. Because it was the DNA in the blood of those babies that would cause for certain things in them to change. So they could live longer. But the immortality shit was a lie. They were not immortal. They just had the ability to live longer. And they had to stay away from the sun. Because now you're going to cause a whole war within your being if you step into that sun. It's going to confuse the genes. Because you've taken in his blood and the genes from his baby, but you're not a melanin dominant being, and you don't possess that God gene that calls for those beings to be immortal. All right? Similar to what Pops is talking about with Mahfouzet. So then what's going to happen when you step out into that sun? You're going to disintegrate. And that's why they show you that part in the movies. But then pay attention. They show you Blade and he's melanin dominant.
That's what I was going to bring up.
And he was fucking everybody up because he was at home. Only thing was they should have showed you he's a daywalker. Did they show you that he's a daywalker? Could he daywalk?
I know in a completely separate publication that's a thing.
Okay, cool. He's a daywalker. Because the melanin dominant gene yielded you melanin, which aided in that. So their bloodlines started to try to shift and mix in with the melanin dominant people to say they bloodline. There's so many stories in vampirism, but the main point is, it wasn't as they pushed it. So a lot of Caucasians started to be attracted to magic, especially around the 70s, 80s, 90s, when the psychic readers and all of them was coming out, the gypsies and everybody. They started being attracted to magic on the Egyptian tip of things. You see what I'm saying? But they had to go through that order of Set or through Aleister Crowley and people like that to get back home. And some of them still never made it. So they got stuck at the moon, Wiccans. Which is why most Wiccans are who? Caucasians. Those are our sisters, though. You see what I'm saying? And the Thelemites those are some of them. Those are our sisters and brothers, too. You with me? But they so far from Hecca. Everybody's genetically trying to get home. That's why the spiritual war is genetics. Spiritual war is bloodline. Oh, wow. I think we got 2% left. Anybody got a question on here? Are y'all good? Oh, wow. We got 1 more percent, y'all. It's gonna pass away. The phone gonna transition. Wasn't that his bloodline or something like that? I haven't seen it fully and paid attention. We might have to watch Blade again. Yeah, we might gotta watch that again. Aleister Crowley learned the secret so that the melanin recessor could connect. Yeah. Exactly. And a lot of them learned the secrets through him. And he was calling himself the wickedest man to ever live. And the thing about it is, he did a lot of wicked shit. But you want to know who he was attempting to intimidate most or aggravate most? The Caucasoids, who were running certain governments. He was like, I'm going to teach these people so they're going to wind up rising against y'all. And it yielded a lot of teenage rebels in the decades to come. And the teenage rebels started becoming anarchists and going against the government. A lot of Caucasians. So he one of the wicked ones. He used wickedness too. He was wicked to those beings too. He said, do what thou wilt, and that shall be the whole of the law. And he got some mistranslations himself, but the point is, yeah, and that should transform you. You can see just by his egghead that's Voldemort. Like, he transforms. As soon as you become an egghead, you know you can touch some shit. He honored the gods of Egypt. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He honored Tahuti, thought all of them. But a lot of his stuff was coming from Greek translations and renditions, so he didn't even go to Kemet. He was really in Greek and the Emerald Tablets and all that. He was in that. So he missed a lot of stuff. That's why his head turned like that. If your head round, you doing something like this, as soon as your shit start going egg, boy, back up. All right. Go Coneheads, yeah.
Pops talked about it.
All right, I love y'all. I'm on 1%. I'll talk to y'all soon. That was a great class. That's all I have for y'all joining in. That added into it a lot. And peace in the land. It's truly wonderful. I do say, oh, one more thing. It's going to probably die when I say this shit. Those of y'all who want to participate in the fundraiser, hit the Cash App, Play for Change. Screenshot it. I'm about to type it if it don't die. Play for Change, Cash App. As soon as we hit another 1,000, we're going to give away another 300. We're giving away $1,200 this week. All right, so as soon as we hit another 1,000, where I think we might be like 600 or 500 away from that. So when we hit another 1,000, we'll give away another 300. All right, so y'all screenshot that. If all you have to do is literally send in a donation. All right, you don't have to. You got to DM me about the Zelle. DM me, ask me like, what's the Zelle? DM me. But as soon as you send a donation, you get on the list anyway. And then you get raffled. And we'll do the raffle digitally on live. So you get to watch that. All right? So send something. We're going to raise the funds up. And then we're going to give away some more money. All right? And more information coming too. I'm planning a show. I'm planning another digital show. And we're going to do it with AI. It's going to be a lot of opportunities you can get involved with that. All right? I love y'all. Peace in the lab. It's truly wonderful. I do